Well, that was fast. That was fast indeed, because the Vancouver Canucks have put Vitali Kravtsov on unconditional waivers for the purpose of contract termination. He's gone. The Vancouver Canucks are saying goodbye. And you had Rick Dhaliwal go out there and give us the scoop as to why this is going down. Kravtsov wanted to go back home. It's as simple as that. Dhaliwal then followed up by saying this on Twitter: "Sounds like a 3-year deal for Vitali Kravtsov with Traktor Chelyabinsk in Russia." And that's all she wrote, really. That's it. You know, this wasn't really an experiment that was going all too well. Kravtsov, if we take a look at it, there was the potential that he could be maybe a Valeri Nichushkin kind of guy who would step into North American soil after what was a very successful KHL career and potentially do something for himself. But unfortunately, that definitely did not happen. Kravtsov, 58 points in 66 games last year with Traktor Chelyabinsk, 4 points in 10 AHL games with the Abbey Canucks this year. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really watched much of the Abbey Canucks team this year, mostly because all their players are in Vancouver, so yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but hey, guys like Kravtsov, they were probably given a little bit more of an opportunity to be in the AHL and be an impact maker, but no, the team was losing a bunch because they lost out on their top line and everybody else. So Vitali Kravtsov, unfortunately, doesn't really seem like things were going his way in the AHL. The team was losing. The vibes were probably down. I could understand if he probably said, yeah, no, sorry, I just, I wanted to come back to North America because I wanted to try out for the NHL, and I was so productive in the KHL, so I thought there would have been a chance, but no, unfortunately, that was not working. And also, it's like, half of gosh darn Abbey is up in Vancouver right now, and Kravtsov was still down there. So it's like, yeah, no, they called up Carlson, they called up Oman, they called up Sasson, they called up freaking Mackenzie McEachern and ahead of me. Maybe I won't get my chance. And that shouldn't really be a surprising fact to anybody, especially when you think about what Vitali Kravtsov was like in the preseason. The guy was not really useful. There was maybe like a good pass every game that he would make, but that was about it. He didn't really provide much else. So it's clear that Vitali Kravtsov's NHL level of production just wasn't where it needed to be to even be featured in the league. But if he goes back home, terminates the contract with Vancouver, probably loses his rights as well as a Canuck, he just becomes a full-time KHL guy, and that's the rest of his career, right? Now, you can say this was a waste of time, but admittedly, I think this was a reasonable experiment. You always want to explore the what-ifs, and you always want to make sure you cover all your bases, just in case a guy like Vitali Kravtsov ends up becoming the next Valeri Nichushkin. He leaves the NHL, he goes to Russia, he comes back to the NHL, and he becomes a consistent 20-goal scorer. All hotel rooms aside, it seems like Valeri Nichushkin has been a worthwhile addition to the Colorado Avalanche, and his time in Russia was able to cultivate that. Kravtsov, not so much. It's unfortunate because this guy, I think, he goes down in a long list of New York Rangers first-round picks that ended up not becoming anything. Not just for the Rangers, but just in general. I mean, nobody's talking about Lias Andersson these days. Nobody's talking about Vitali Kravtsov these days either. We're only doing it here because he requested out. But all these New York Rangers first-round picks not becoming anything at the NHL level definitely paints a big stain on just the draft history of this team. You think about that specific lull period of New York Rangers first-round picks, Lias Andersson, Vitali Kravtsov, Capo Kakko, even Alexis Lafreniere, and then Brennan Othmann from 2021 is also in a spot where he could potentially get traded. His name has been linked in rumors. The Rangers' first-round draft core has just not been great. If anything, some of the later first-round pick guys like K'Andre Miller and Braden Schneider, even Filipino have been more useful than some of these first-round guys. Say what you want about Alexis Lafreniere, of course. But Vitali Kravtsov is another one of these guys that was just linked in there. He had a crazy playoff in 2018 to get him drafted in the top 10 of the 2018 draft in general. And now he's going back home. Now, in other news, in regards to the Vancouver Canucks, this is what Tyson Cole went out there and said. He tweeted a Rick Dollywall quote from Donnie and Dolly today. Conor Garland, he's close. We heard Adam Foote say yesterday, I heard that Conor Garland is going to skate today, which is a great sign. Can he get in the lineup tomorrow? I don't know. But it is a good sign that he is skating today. So that is some very positive Vancouver Canucks related news. Conor Garland being an option for this hockey team. It seems like everybody's coming back. At least, that's what it kind of looks like for now. Hughes comes back. The Vancouver Canucks beat Nashville. Conor Garland potentially returns against a young, up-and-coming Chicago Blackhawks team with Connor Bedard going out there and doing all the things that he's been doing. So, Conor Garland, if he returns, maybe that takes up Mackenzie McEachern's spot in the lineup if I had to assume somebody gets removed. Either that or maybe one of the 3 first-liners in Abbotsford, I don't know. But Conor Garland is one of the play drivers that Vancouver has, and they desperately need that. I know I say they need guys who can drive the play, even though they scored 5 goals yesterday, but it's like, come on, you can always get more play drivers. I'd rather have Conor Garland in the lineup than Mackenzie McEachern. Sorry to Mackenzie McEachern. But Garland coming back will provide a little bit more solace. Now we just gotta hope that some of those other names start to slowly return too. Once Teddy Bluger is back in, I think the Canucks will start to be able to roll a little bit better. And then don't even get me started on Nils Höglander. Yeah, that guy's been out the entire season so far, and I feel like his little spark of energy will just provide so much when he inevitably comes back. Inevitably, right? I'm saying Höglander and not Hedl because I don't know if Hedl ever comes back, to be honest, but for now, Kravtsov is out. Garland skating around. Who knows if he's going to return actually to the fold later against Chicago. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these Canucks roster moves as well as the latest on Conor Garland. How do you feel about the way Vancouver's forward core is shaping up after this series of moves here? And where is it that you place Conor Garland in the lineup? Right now, it's listed as Kiefer Sherwood on the top line with Pettersson and Evander Kane. Who knows how that's going to stay, because we've been looking at these games lately. It doesn't look like any line is here to stay permanently, with the exception of the Sasson-Carlson-Baines line. But where do you slot in a Conor Garland if he does return? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.